All right, Nick. Headed to the top of the ninth. Maybe this is the first time all year long where we have a come-from-behind win here, trailing in the ninth inning. It's going to happen at some point this season, at least once. It's not a good start.
Not ideal.
I'm assuming you're going to be slightly ahead of me here.
I don't think I'm too bad, but I'm trying to get a pitch count. Maybe
like 2 seconds is what you're going to be ahead of me. You're always.
Well,
it seems like 2 seconds is what you always are. Let's see here.
I'm going to try to go when Foucher's name goes off. I pause it right after his
Foucher things up. Foucher things up. Foucher things up. It's up and off.
12, 11. Yep. All right, we're partying. All right, Trevino.
This is where Trevino's hitting so well that you just got to keep hitting him. I mean, it doesn't seem like this is a spot where you traditionally have Trevino hitting, but
I got a stat on Trevino that I'm going to save for later. We need likes.
Yeah, we need a win, man. We need a win. That's right, man. You can't pinch hit for Trevino when he's 2 for 3 and he's been one of the better hitters all year long. I understand that he's probably not one of the better hitters, but you just can't pinch hit for him. Like you can't do that.
Well, it's also not like they have a big left-handed bat on the bench either.
No,
like
yeah. Who you gonna hit for him? Who you gonna hit for him?
Spencer Steer?
No. You're not.
I mean, Don Espinal, Steer, and wins. Yeah, I mean, if you had Tyler Callahan on the bench, I think I could make that case. If you had Will Benson on the bench, I think I could make that case. But not with the Reds personnel now.
I'm semi-worried about McLean too. I don't know what it is. I just feel like he hasn't looked like himself for the last few days.
Sucks that Friedl made that dumb throw because he's hitting well right now. Like he's playing well.
Yeah. I know as much as we get on hitting coaches and stuff like that. Oh, there's a guy there. Damn analytics. Damn analytics, man. Got to ruin everything. All right, folks. I'll tell you what. I'll do you a favor. You know, you guys want to complain every single day about how long this intro is. I'll shorten it up. Okay, it's going to be a random spot. That's how it's just going to go. Random spot. Here it goes.
And bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. That goes Clemente.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line to the right field. Genius, the first run ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh,
right, Reds fall in another one-run game yet again. It seems to be, I don't know, at some point the story of the past few years. And by past few years, I mean obviously the last year and so far this year. I think that the issue is obvious for the most part, Nick, and I don't mean to sit here and act as if it's simple as to why the Reds aren't performing many times the way in which we'd hope. They just don't have consistent big league hitters. They don't have enough of them. There's going to be some guys that get hot from time to time, and there's certainly going to be times in which this Reds offense appears to be good enough. But I just don't think if we took a little bit of the blinders off from time to time that we have enough quality guys in the lineup. Now, does that mean they can't make the postseason with this lineup? No. As we said before, there's a chance that the starting pitching and hopefully the bullpen will hold up, and we'll find out if they can. But it gives them a chance. And tonight they had a chance. They had a real chance. Offensively, they've got to do better than three runs. You got the score backwards. It almost tricked me, but you know what? That's okay. Letting you know now before the chat.
Well, I'm glad everyone got the 3-minute intro.
But yeah, exactly. See,
this is what you get.
Now
this is what you get.
Now Nick's
this
mad
is
at
what
me.
you get.
Oh, here we go. Now Nick's mad at me because the chat complains about the intro length. Nick doesn't get his full 3 minutes or whatever it is, and Nick doesn't have things done in the manner in which he wants them done in. Okay, now look at that. But I'm trying to buy you a little bit of time, Nick, here before we run through the box score recap, and I guess. I'm trying to figure out if these guys are good enough to get mad about. That's kind of my struggle. Is because at some point you can only get mad at something because you think that there is some semblance of potential there. You know, when you're a coach and you have kids on the team and you tell the kids, hey, I'm only getting on you because I care. You know, you should start to get worried when I don't say nothing to you. I'm getting closer and closer to the point for half of these guys that are on this team that it's like, yeah, all right, you know, I've seen it. That's part of it. That's kind of who they are. I'm not sure how many times TJ Friedl needs to catch a ball in center field or the outfield and just realize that keeping the guy off of second base, Jake Fraley did the same dumb thing the other night, is more important than your minuscule chance of throwing a guy out. If nothing else, at least throw it through the cutoff. At least throw it through the cutoff. I get that you might think, well, that's just, I mean, that you should know that when you first start playing baseball in middle school. Well, you do. But as you get older, you start to lose sight of things, and the details seem to kind of crumble to the way. And the thing is that a lot of these guys at one point in their whole entire baseball lives were that guy. They were the dude. They were the best player on the field. Everybody oohed and awed about how good they were. No doubt about it. If you play in the big leagues, you were elite at one point in your career at some level. I hate to tell half these guys on this roster right now, but you better start paying attention to the details because we can't lose in the margins. This team's not good enough to lose in the margins. The Yankees, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Phillies, you could get away with it. You miss the cutoff man every so often if you want. Not a big deal. You got 162 games. It doesn't really matter. You're going to probably so you won 97 games instead of 99 games. You won 106 games instead of 102 games. We don't have that luxury. This team doesn't have that luxury. You got to play, I hate to say it, almost as perfect fundamentally as you can with the talent level that this team has. TJ Friedl, hate to break it to him, but he's going to have to hit the cutoff, man. He's playing fine. He's playing fine. But he might as well hit a home run tonight and then not made that play in center field because it cost the Reds a run. And those are the things that, people just gloss over and don't think it's a big deal. Well, the other thing people are going to gloss over is some people are going to crush Candelario for not being able to make the play at first base and Ashcraft for throwing the ball. Now, I'm going to get in the weeds here for a minute, Nick, because you might need some time for the box score recap and all that. So I'm going to get in the weeds. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, but there are things that you can work on when you're doing PFPs, pitcher fielding practice, for those that don't know what PFPs are. There are things that you do. One of them is up the line, right up the line. You can work on yelling and communicating. By the way, there's about 5 people in the stands at Marlins Stadium, or whatever they call their place. You can hear. People can talk. If the ball's up the line, someone needs to yell outside, 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 outside. It could be Trevino. It could be Candelario. I don't care who it is. But someone needs to let, basically, Ashcraft know that his best chance is to throw the ball on the outside of the base path on a direct line to the first baseman. Not try to throw it over the guy running's head back to the inside part of the bag. So am I blaming Ashcraft? Partly. But I would like my infielders to at least communicate with the pitcher on where we need to go with the ball in that spot. And I guess I'm openly saying, my guess is that spring training, Candelario was too busy taking ground balls at third base because he still was considered possibly a third baseman. And I'm not saying it's Candelario's fault completely. It's not. Ashcraft could have slid to the outside and just thrown it to the outside on purpose, and then Candelario would have been forced to reach across the bag, or he would have been forced to kind of slide over and hopefully catch the ball. But, and again, maybe they work on these things in spring training, maybe they work on them during the season, and maybe they just didn't execute at that specific moment, and the Reds coaching staff has done an excellent job. But I do wonder when I watch these things on a nightly basis, if these guys' attention to detail is as pristine as it should be for the talent level that they bring to the team. You can't be the scrappy guy coming off the bench in basketball that can't dunk, is a marginal shooter, and can play a little bit of defense. You better be able to shoot free throws then. Like, you better be able to not turn the ball over. Like, there's things that you better do exactly right or you have no value. And this team, time and time again, shows up as to why they lose these games. It's in the margins. And it's frustrating because we watch it on a nightly basis. And ultimately at the end of the year, I get sad about these things because I know at the end of the year, these are all the little things that had to go right for the Reds to make the postseason. When you're projected to win 77 games, Vegas isn't wrong usually. They're not wrong usually. The only way they're wrong is if you have some statistical outlier that's crazy, like you win 80% of your one-run games. Last year was the opposite. I was hoping this year would be the opposite of the one-run games, and we would win a lot of them, and maybe we still will. Like, there's a lot of season left. But so far, Nick, it seems like the same things that we lost one-run games for last year, we're doing again. David Bell's not to be blamed. I don't know if Tito gets the blame, but clearly there's a fundamental issue that this team has from time to time, and it costs them when it matters the most. Hopefully that was enough time for your box score recap.
Plenty, sir. Appreciate it. You really needed a shutdown inning tonight, too, from Ashcraft, and the defense didn't help him, but he did throw a pitch right down the middle. That was the ground rule double that got that inning started. So yep. I don't think that should be unnoticed either as part of the equation. And the Reds have lost 3 games in the last week and a half where they did score 3 runs. And just like, you were all over it earlier talking about how, when you lose these 1-0 games, it's going to kind of swing back the other way. And it unfortunately has. yeah, I mean, this was just a game where, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Reds offense was terrible. They weren't great.
No, they weren't.
I don't
terrible.
think Nick Martinez was solid, not great, solid. And this is a game where, man, you just wish you could just have your shutdown bullpen that gets the job done. And Ashcraft's been great this year, but, it just didn't happen tonight. And it's a frustrating one to lose because this was one it felt like you really needed to get.
Yeah, it does. Because you just can't lose series. You can't lose a series coming off what felt like a momentum-building kind of set of games, if you want to call it that. And they found a way to do it. And to your point, Nick, I would openly say I thought that the Reds hit some balls hard. No one's going to want to hear that. I mean, Candelario, as much as I kill the guy, and I kill him, and do I think he's good? I don't. He hit some balls pretty well tonight. I haven't looked at Baseball Savant. I don't really know 100% what that looks like, but watching the game, he hit a couple balls hard. If he's in a different ballpark on a different day, he might be the hero of the game. And unfortunately tonight he's not.
10 of 30 was the one that Candelario hit.
Yeah.
So probably is a home run at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah. So I mean,
it is a home run at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah. So listen, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. They're not playing in Great American Ballpark. He's out. It's a fly out. But I'm openly saying Candelario at least looked a little bit better tonight. He did. Do I want to hang my hat on that? Of course I don't. But that's kind of where we're at. Let's jump into the box score recap, and let's obviously go through the game bit by bit here, and then maybe talk about what things are next. Obviously, Nuelve is a hot spot. We'll obviously discuss him and more on the back half. So, box score recap presented by Nick Kirby.
One quick point, just because I have it up.
Yep.
The Reds actually had 3 balls hit tonight that would have been home runs at Great American Ballpark that weren't. Friedl's double against Cabrera, Candelario's ball that he hit off Bender, and then Elly had a ball off of Bashar or whatever his name is. All 3 of those home runs at Great American Ballpark. Just interesting. Again, doesn't mean anything, but I find it interesting. All right, Reds taking on the Miami Marlins, game 2 of 3 down in Miami. Reds went 1-2-3 in the top of the first with 2 strikeouts against Edward Cabrera. In the bottom of the first, something we don't see often, Nick Martinez's command was very shaky. He walked 2 batters on pitches way out of the strike zone and ended up giving up a run on a weak single by Kyle Stowers to make it 1-0 Marlins. Cabrera would end up retiring their first 6 Reds batters with 4 strikeouts, but then Nuelve Marte unloaded on a 3-2 pitch for a second home run of the season to tie the game at 1. Reds stranded runners in the 3rd and 4th, but in the 5th inning, Jose Trevino and TJ Friedl each hit doubles, and the Reds took a 2-1 lead. In the top of the 6th, Elly De La Cruz had a leadoff single. Elly then stole 2nd and 3rd, and Jeimer Candelario hit a sac fly to put the Reds up 3-1. Now, Nick Martinez had retired 13 out of 14 batters and was 1 out away from getting through the 6th inning, but a weak single and then a double that was absolutely destroyed by Agustin Ramirez made it a 3-2 game, and Martinez's day would be done. Ashcraft came in, struck out Kyle Stowers to end the threat. Ashcraft came back out in the 7th. Ashcraft gave up a double and then a single with 1 out. On that single, TJ Friedl made a poor decision trying to throw home and throw out the runner at the plate, which he had no chance on. That decision would bite the Reds when Xavier Edwards hit a slow dribbler down the first base line. Ashcraft tried to make a play at first base, threw a wild ball that Candelario could not come up with, and that allowed the go-ahead run to come around to score to make it 4-3 Marlins, and that would be the final score. Reds lose 4-3. Reds now 12-10 on the season.
All right, deep drive of the day, sponsored by DSC. That's Deep South Commodities for those at home. Was off the bat of Nuelve Marte. It was an absolute screamer. 116.7 off the bat. That's one of the hardest hit balls. Well, it might be the hardest hit ball all year. I'm not sure. Nick might know that here in just a minute. Distance 431 feet. That would tie the game 1-1. It was the 3rd hardest hit ball by a Reds player in the StatCast era since 2015, so my guess of it being the hardest hit ball all year probably stands. DSC, they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information, and thank you to John and his team for supporting our show each and every single year. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because I think the effort was there, if that makes sense. I think the effort was there. Ashcraft's play is certainly going to be the hottest discussion point. I guess, Nick, I'm more frustrated by the throw home. I personally am, because that feels like a complete and utter mental mistake. Like you just have to know better. It wasn't like a speed you up play. Ashcraft's play to me, Nick, was more or less like, I can't fault a guy for trying to make, like, he's just trying to make a play. It's not, I know people are going to be like, well, he could have eaten it. TJ Friedl could have thrown the ball to second. What's the difference? The difference is that and you're taught as an outfielder since you're like in high school, that if there's a guy on second base and you're trying to throw him out at home, unless he's the winning run, right? You probably are best off to make sure that you throw the ball through the cutoff so we don't give up the guy to let him get in scoring position. Ashcraft's play is like an anomaly. Like Ashcraft might not have that same exact play for another 4 years. It's just a different situation. I guess, do you feel the same way? I know people might disagree with us, but I'm happy with TJ Friedl right now too, which is frustrating. It's just that he made a terrible decision.
Yeah, I mean, TJ Friedl, that's a play he sees over and over all the time. I mean, he's going to see that play another 20 times this year at least. Yeah. Ashcraft, I mean, there's a fast runner running down the line. I mean, it was a poor decision, but it's a split decision. You're trying to make a play. I'm not crushing Ashcraft. Yeah. To be honest, with Ashcraft, I'm a little more disappointed with that pitch that he threw right down the middle of the plate. That set up. I think that, to me, was probably a worse decision than that split second decision that he had to make.
Yeah, and I would also say, like, this isn't Candelario's fault for not catching it. But, like, if Ashcraft had a taller first baseman that had a little bit of bigger wingspan, he probably catches the ball, and everybody's acting like it's a great play by Ashcraft. So it's like, it wasn't that far off of being the third out of the inning. I get that everyone's going to say he should have eaten it and all that, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that probably wouldn't be at least a little bit of a wise play in that situation. But I would have been more upset at Ashcraft, put it this way, if the guy was going to beat the throw regardless. Like, if there was no play at all and he still threw it and he threw it away, I'd be upset at Ashcraft. I'd say his decision was just as bad as TJ Friedl's. It wasn't. The ball beat the runner to first base. It was a little bit wide. As I said before, maybe, you don't believe that. You think he should have eaten it no matter what. If Ashcraft catches that ball and continues his momentum to the outside where he was running to, he has a pretty easy throw to the other side of the bag. It's really not that hard of a play. That's not what happened. The rest is history. But ultimately, it's going to be the story of the game, is whether or not he should have thrown it. And it's unfortunate because I felt like Ashcraft's done a great job this year, and I feel like TJ Friedl's done a serviceable job this year. They had a bad moment in one inning there.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, Friedl's been great the last couple weeks. He got off to a pretty slow start, and at 2 hits today, overall, his numbers look pretty good. So he's played very well over the last couple weeks, but just was a really poor decision, and it cost the Reds today. You wish you wouldn't. You just wish you weren't playing a game against the Marlins that came down to that, though. I mean, that's also part of the issue.
That's definitely the issue. And I would also say it's like salt in the wound because this team finally got to 500, Nick. Like, how many times has this team teased us to get us in a spot where we felt like, Nick, they might actually make a run and be above 500? And maybe it would be short-lived. Maybe they would go 5 games above 500 by the middle of May, and then by the end of July, they're 10 games under 500. I don't know. But I just need a little semblance of hope here. That's what I'm looking for. Just give me a chance to believe. And it seems like every time they get me to the doorstep of believing, they just decide they're going to slam the door right in my face. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to watch the game, Nick. and I'm going to hope they win. And I'm not out. I'm not out at all. I still feel like this team has the ability to win. It's just that they've lost too many games in the margins this year that are just devastating to me. And I was really hoping, Nick, that we would get lucky and win. We would win these games. Like we would win 70% of the games that we would consider in the margins, or it just, the ball bounced our way that night. You hit 3 balls that would have been a home run at Great American Ballpark. You can say that doesn't matter if you're a fan. I get why you would say that, but there is perspective on whether or not you had bat at bat after bat at bat after bat at bat. The truth is that this offense probably hit him well enough to score more than 3 runs, and that's what they were left with, was 3 runs. I'll also say that Cabrera's not really been a great pitcher. It would be nice if they would have put a little more pressure on him and we could find a way to score more than 3, even if we did hit 3 balls that would have been home runs at Great American Ballpark. Those 2 things can be true. Another positive, if I can, Nick, it was nice to see us put pressure on the defense, running, stealing bases again. I thought that Elly, for those that always continue to get on Elly about all these things, he made some great defensive plays tonight. Elly obviously caused a run. He stole second and stole third, got a sacrifice fly that allowed him to score with Candelario. So there are positive things, which I guess will lead me into Noelvi Marte, who is maybe one of the brighter things that has come across the timeline here this week. Hits a ball obviously incredibly hard tonight. Still battling some demons at third base. Did make a solid play, though, barehanded play. Almost got the guy out. Wasn't out, but it was nice to see that. I guess the overall thoughts on Noelvi, and I think he's going to cause a problem now because it's hard to take a guy out of the lineup if he keeps doing this.
Well, I don't think it's a problem.
I'm not saying it's a problem.
Figure it out.
It's going to be a problem when Tyler Stephenson comes back and you got 2 catchers that are playing remotely what I would call pretty damn good. I mean, somebody that we thought was going to be a major staple in this lineup is not going to play.
Yeah, and that's their problem, the way I look at it. Yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't want to go too overboard on Noelvi Marte, but, I mean, what a pleasant surprise to start this year. He looked great in AAA, looked different in AAA. There was this kind of stuff can really get overblown, but it felt like Noelvi Marte went down to AAA with a different mindset. And the reason I say that was because he was stealing bases down in Louisville. Like, you didn't see that really last year. Like, he was aggressive. Like, it felt like there was something different. And I think that mindset was part of the reason why the Reds were more aggressive on calling him up, because we were kind of surprised that they called him up at the time, right? I mean, we were both kind of like, oh, really? Like, we thought they were going to, make him really earn his way back up. So I think that between the lines, there's been a change in Noelvi Marte this year. And, I mean, yeah, still incredibly young. I mean, this guy has not even earned a full year of big league service time yet. So, yeah, very exciting. He's got to be a little better defensively at third base, but, I mean, thankfully for Noelvi Marte, the bar's not very high over there.
No, it's not. It does seem like Espinal just went, like...
Poor guy.
I feel terrible for Espinal because he's done everything he's supposed to do to earn more playing time to a certain extent. I mean, he really has. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know what you do. It's just tough for Espinal, and I guess I have a little soft spot for Espinal because I do feel like when this team needed him the most, and there was no one there to help support this infield when everyone's out, whether it be McLean, whether it be Marte getting suspended, which is the reason that he came over in the first place, whether it be Candelario can't catch a cold and or hit water, as we've been saying, if he fell out of a boat. I I think Espinal stepped in and done a marvelous job. But now he's on the outside looking in because of potential, I guess, out of that first base spot. And, you're just not going to sit Noelvi Marte if he's hitting the ball. So we'll see what ultimately happens with that. But we find ourselves in a position now, Nick, where it's wait and see with Noelvi. Hopefully he continue to play well. It seems like if Noelvi can play well enough for the next, what we call it, 2 weeks, I'd say, if he can play relatively well for the next 2 weeks, I think he sticks. I think they give him a leash, because there's this dynamic here right now, in my opinion, Nick, where if he were to go cold for the next 5 or 6 or 7 games, and again, basically rack up a bunch of strikeouts and not look all that competitive at the plate, I think they would make the switch and send him out. I think that if he does play well for the next 2 weeks, he could go on a pretty long stretch of bad baseball, and they'll still kind of let him kind of get through it, if you want to call it that. It'll be interesting to see the dynamic of how that plays out. And, hey, that was a bright spot in a bad day. It was a bright spot in a bad day. And hopefully Noelvi will continue to play well, and we'll see. All right, as always, if you're looking to possibly go anywhere and you need tickets, do us a favor and download the Game Time app today, and you can use the code CBOX. That's CBOX. And you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. I, myself, Nick, have both used the app. We appreciate the fact that it is the official ticketing partner of Chatterbox Reds, and more importantly, it is also a place that you can wait to the last minute and get tickets at almost virtually any time up until right at the game time, a la the Game Time app. So please, download the app today. Use code CBOX. That's CBOX. You can get $20 off your first purchase. I personally am I'm looking forward to using it here for some road games at some point. I'm trying to figure out what park I want to see. Is there a park that you still want to see, Nick, that you've not been to yet? I know that you've been around the sun a little bit here.
I tell you, I really want to go out to Colorado, where the Reds play this weekend. I don't know if that's number one on the list for me, but Coors Field seems like that'd be a fun place to watch a ball game.
Yeah, Coors Field.
We were close.
We were close. For those that are thinking about getting tickets, Game Time, use the code CBOX, CBOX. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Thank you. And as always, text and or call 988 if you're ever in need, day or night, 24/7 hotline. It's okay to not be okay, and it's always a good time if you need some help to visit mantherapy.org. All right, back half of the rundown, folks. I'm going to do some supers here really quick before we get there. I have not seen them. Carlton Van Hoy says, you cannot let Fraley have that AB when you have Dunn on the bench. Then you didn't pinch run for the catcher the next inning. You got to let the team speed loose.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that moment because the Reds were up 3-1 at the time. What did they have? Marte walked. What did that put? That put runners on first and second. I mean, and so you're up 3-1, and Fraley got to bat left on left. I mean, you want to talk about Santiago Espinal. I mean, Santiago Espinal hits left-handed pitchers very well. Yep. I honestly think I'd rather have Espinal maybe hitting that spot than Blake Dunn. But yeah, I mean, I don't agree with, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with these left-on-left matchups. Jake Fraley and Gavin Lux are not on this team to hit in those spots. I mean, I'm sure part of the process is the thinking as well. His bat's going to come back up again, but you're facing a pretty mediocre left-handed reliever, and you have a chance to put the game away. I mean, if Santiago Espinal hits a ball down the line, this game's over. Reds win. We're having a happy post-game show right now. Right. That's a great super chat. I completely forgot about that spot in the game, but yeah, I 1,000% do not agree with these decisions.
Yeah, and the other thing happened, it was a little bit earlier in the game. I don't know, ultimately if it would have made a difference or not. I do know that Lux came back around again later in the game and got a hit, so maybe that makes it a null point. In the top of the sixth, I know, some might say that that's relatively early to be pinch hitting guys. You had a single by Elly De La Cruz to lead the inning off. He steals second base. Austin Hayes walks, and then you have Gavin Lux lefty on lefty in a spot like that. And it's like, this offense struggles to try to kind of capitalize. You have first and second with nobody out, And it's just tough because Gavin Lux obviously strikes out in that spot, lefty on left. And, there was the double steal there that happened as well, for those that don't remember. So it was second and third. A base hit scores 2, which, would have given the Reds not just it would have given the Reds, I think, a 4-1 lead at that point. But ultimately it didn't matter. Gavin Lux strikes out. Thankfully, Jeimer Candelario was able to hit a sacrifice fly. Nuelve would walk, and then obviously Jake Fraley grounds out. That's the point that you were making with him pitch hitting there. So I actually thought there was 2 opportunities in that inning that you could have used an opportunity to pinch hit. And I know Jake Fraley kind of seemed like maybe the more obvious one, but I even was thinking it when Lux came up, and the MO seems like they're just not going to do it, Nick. I know we don't agree with that, but that seems to be the standard, is that we're not pinch hitting for these guys late in games or semi-late in games to give us a little bit of a better value. And it's frustrating because I just think that that's what you have to do if you're a team like us, is you have to win in the margins. Like you gotta squeeze every little bit of opportunity that you have out. And we can act like it doesn't matter. And we can say that Tito Francona, everything that he does outside of the analytics and outside of making changes at the end of games, it outweighs all of that. Well, so far, I haven't seen it. I haven't
You're
seen
10 and 12. You're 10 and 12, and you have a guy in 529 career plate appearances, is a .298 hitter against left-handed pitching with a .352 on base percentage. And Jake Fraley and Gavin Lux have been atrocious in their careers against left-handed pitching. So I don't know. They're 10 and 12. I'm getting sick of well, this will help them down the line. No, it's brutal. It's brutal. This is the shit that makes me mad. I don't get mad about a lot, but when you're not basing your decision on factual information, that's the stuff that angers me as a fan.
I understand. And it's hard to defend. It's hard to defend the logic. It really is. I really don't have anything for it. I definitely think that Francona 100% brings some substance and value that perhaps we didn't have before. But I'll ultimately say that if the proof's not in the pudding, you can't really point to that. And it's early. It's early. We're 10 and 12. There's a chance that towards the end of July, Tito's got this team humming, and we just look like idiots for saying these things. But I'll be honest, it's been a little disheartening at times to see how games have kind of been managed at the end of games. And there's been things that just don't make any sense at all. And I'm not downplaying the beat reporters and their jobs or anything like that. I don't know if anyone has the gumption to ask a guy with the pedigree of Tito Francona why he doesn't do some of these things. But I would appreciate a candid answer on some of them. I really would. Even if we went back, Nick, maybe even last week where Nuelve Marte pinch runs for Espinal, and it's wouldn't you just rather have a guy that can play third base at a really high level than a guy that's going to have an extra, we're talking 0.2 of a second speed difference on a ground ball to the outfield? Now, you might tell me that, well, what if that's the difference? I would say if we want to play the math game, that's what we're all trying to play. That's quite literally why we're talking about these things, is because it's just literally trying to figure out what is the best value for what you are doing. And I would say that having Espinal play third base is a much higher value over the course of the rest of the game than having 0.2 of a second on a guy trying to score on a ground ball when 98% of the time there's not even a throw to the plate that even remotely matters, because guys score more times than not. So, these things are frustrating. All right, we got some more super chats. Sean Krucka then says, hello, darkness, my old friend. Bad defense bites their peach once again. I think the peach is referencing something else for those that are at home wondering. It does. Jacob Doyle says, keep up the great work. This whole channel is really cool. You are the voice of the fans. Go Reds. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, we're trying to be. We're trying to be knowledgeable and insightful fans and entertaining at times. There are times where I scream and yell but I also think that between myself and Nick, we bring up points like not hitting for Lux or not hitting for Fraley, and thank you to Carlton for bringing up the whole point. But it's like there needs to be some rational reasoning behind why we're doing the things that we're doing, and I don't know if we're getting those answers, to be honest. Carlton Van Hoy then says, explain forcing a closer to go out for another inning last night. Diaz got the out he was supposed to get, but not having him backed up is criminal.
I'll give him more of a pass on that just because the Reds were down 3-0. I know it looks bad because Lux hits a 2-run home run and they scored 3 runs in the inning and cut it, I think, to 6-3. But if Diaz is on the roster, you kind of have to pitch him in those kind of spots. So I didn't really have an issue with that. I don't have nearly as big of an issue with that as some of the decisions today.
I agree. At the end of the day, the players are going to win more games than the manager is going to lose and or win. Okay, the whole manager thing, as we've talked about before, how much they actually impact an overall season as a whole. I would say 3 to 4 games. That's what I got for you. If you got a great manager, I'll say they could win you 3 games. If you got a bad manager, they could lose you 3 games. The delta is a 6-game difference. That's a big delta. That's a decent delta, but that's the maximum delta that I'm going to give. So this whole notion that David Bell was losing all these 1-run games last year because of X, Y, and Z, it just seems like it's the same stuff. Maybe I'm overreacting this early in the season, but it feels like we lose these games the exact same manner in which we lost them last year. Marginally bonehead plays at the wrong time, not having a good enough lineup to get the big hit, and we find ourselves time and time again hoping and wishing that this team can get above 500. So, all right, back half of the rundown. Nick Martinez, kind of a unique show, Nick. The starting pitcher that threw really wasn't a major. He wasn't a major. What would be the right term? I see you. You're over here just completely flabbergasted with the system right now. Yeah,
it's disappearing on me. What is happening?
Everything's having a bad day. Anyways, Nick Martinez. Back to Nick Martinez. It's a unique show where he's coming later in the program. He threw the ball well. 2 runs. He get through 6 innings. I don't have his stat line off the top of my head here. I'm sure I can pull that up here. Let me actually give you his stat line. 5 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. 2 walks. A good outing. For a guy that has a bullseye on his back because he got paid what he got paid, it was an outing that gave the Reds a very good chance to win. Especially when you add on the fact that you have a guy on the other side that just hasn't been very good. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. I don't know what Cabrera came into this game at, but he finishes the game still with a 6 ERA. 7 strikeouts, Nick. He threw 5 innings. This team has got to find a way to limit the strikeouts at some point. And I know I'm going off the track here of Nick Martinez, but it was nice to see him throw the ball well, I guess.
Yeah, that first inning was something you probably aren't going to see from Nick Martinez. The 2 walks, they were almost every pitch was not even close. Right. So that's very un-Nick Martinez liked. But after that, he really locked it in. He only gave up 3 hard hit balls in this game. And his last several starts, he was giving up a lot of hard hit contact. To be honest, his final lines were probably actually looked pretty decent compared to how many hard hit balls he allowed. So, look, this was a good matchup for him. The Marlins are a really bad team against right-handed pitching, so this is a good matchup for him. So again, don't want to go overboard on Nick Martinez, but this was a really solid start from him, and it just feels like Trace. The Reds feel like they've gotten bit so much with 2 outs. Like Martinez giving up that extra run with 2 outs, Ashcraft giving up a run tonight with 2 outs. Feels like there's just been a lot of times where the Reds have been so close to getting out of innings, and I don't know, they just haven't been able to get that final out of the inning.
I would say I would say also when you give up a run with 2 outs, it burns a little bit more. You notice it a little bit more. I feel like the Reds have also dodged some bullets this year as well. I mean, even in this game, they found a way to get out of a jam. Ashcraft kind of got himself in a little bit of trouble and weaseled out of it. Obviously, ended up giving a run up the following inning or whatever. But it's just the difference in winning and losing is getting big 2-out hits. This team had a chance tonight offensively to get some 2-out hits, and they just weren't able to do it. And you'd like to think, Nick, the lull of big numbers will come in at some point. We'll get these things to fall our way. The 1-run game thing, man, it feels like it shouldn't really. It feels like it should just average out. I mean, there's nothing you can do that seemingly would make you lose a ton of 1-run games automatically or win a bunch of 1-run games. It just seems like luck. But the longer this goes on, Nick, it's like, damn, man, I mean, maybe there's something to this. I don't know. At first, I wasn't a believer in it. At first I'm like, oh, okay, we haven't won. We're 1-9 in 1-run games. Big whoopee. At the end of the season, we'll end up being 9-11 or something. Well, that didn't happen. And I think I've been beaten over the head with these 1-run games enough now to where it's just like, yeah, maybe it is something that this team just can't find a way to do. And doesn't it seem like they, in 2023, had this just aura about them, a confidence about them, a belief system that they had? It's just weird, the confidence in baseball, how contagious it can be. They felt like they were going to come back and win every single night after they got off on that hot streak and won 12 in a row. I mean, this team would be down 7-1 in the 3rd inning, and you'd be like, yeah, but I mean, they still got 6 innings of ball left. Like, there's a chance they make it. It feels like now this team gets down 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. If it hits the 6th inning, Nick, I'm already begging. I'm like, dude, there's just there's no way they're going to find a way to win this game, and they don't. And I don't know where that comes from, but it seemingly means that it seems to me that this team just lacks confidence. They lack some confidence, and hopefully they can find something, a switch that they hit, and it just, they turn a corner. Because maybe I'm reading too much into this, Nick, but don't you think there's something said about the psychological aspect of them scoring 11 runs, 14 runs, and 24 runs? I get the 24 is an outlier, but it's just like when this team hits, they get on a roll. When this team can't find a way to score some runs, they get stuck. There's no in between. Can we score 6 runs in a game and win 6-5, 6-4? Is that possible?
They have not won. We had that was that 1 5-3 win, and I think I mentioned I was like, oh wow, we haven't seen anything like this all year. When you were talking about 2023, I was looking this up. So June, when the Reds had that 12-game win streak, they had 8 players. No, they had 9 players have an OPS over 750 that month. I mean, and Fraley was 1,100, Benson was 1,000, Steer was 900, Elly and McLean were almost 900. So I mean, some of the contagious was just everyone was hitting really well. So I don't think it was necessarily as much, just always coming through as much as everyone was just locked in, and as much as anything. But man, to have a month like that again offensively feels so far away right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. Leave it to the chat to let us know that was all Jonathan India and all Joey Votto. Maybe it was.
I believe Jonathan India was not one of the ones in that mix. I think he was one of the ones that wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to be a hater.
I'm just saying, well, he was a leader. That's the part you forgot, Nick. Jose Trevino, let's jump to him. 2 hits again tonight. As I mentioned, in any other scenario, Nick, I feel like more times than not, you come up in the 9th inning with Jose Trevino leading the inning off. And if you would have said that at the beginning of the season, I would have been like, he's getting pitch hit for 99.9% of the time. You got to give him credit. I mean, you do. You really got to give him credit. He's hit some balls hard, too. This isn't a guy that seems like he's lucked himself into having a pretty good start to the season. Trevino, at this point, earned the right to make the out in the 9th inning. Whether it's a good decision or not, we can debate it, but I think he's earned that right to get the out in the 9th inning. He wasn't able to, obviously, to do it, but he did get 2 hits. How did you feel defensively? I was a little disappointed a couple times in this game. It felt like he kind of got a little sloppy, but that's largely maybe just because he's not used to seeing Ashcraft and the cutter that he throws and isn't as familiar with it as he is maybe some of the starters, et cetera, et cetera. Trying to give him some excuses. But I guess your overall thoughts on Trevino.
Pretty early on Trevino, but his actual catching StatCast numbers aren't really all that impressive. It's kind of wild that he's been more impressive with the bat. I hate to be the Debbie Downer on Jose Trevino, but I have to do it because I was curious as the game was going on. So last season, Trevino hit 280 with a 339 on base percentage in April. And if you've looked at Jose Trevino's numbers for the season, you know they must have gone down pretty bad, and they certainly did. Hit 195 with a 271 on base percentage after April last season. So, I mean, again, there's no direct correlation that will for sure happen again, but he did get off to a hot start last year and was pretty much a non-factor offensively the rest of the year. Most of his StatCast numbers show, yes, he's hit some balls hard, but he is probably due for some significant regression. So, I think we talked about it live. I don't have any issue with Jose Trevino batting in that spot, but the reason I don't have any issue is less about Trevino and what he's done and more about just the options the Red has had on the bench. Because Blake Dunn hasn't really shown a whole lot. Santiago Espinal really only value is against left-handed pitching. So I didn't really have an issue with him hitting, but it's more just about the other guys than Trevino.
Yeah. Well, he's going to get run. Tyler Stephenson, when he comes back, that will make things a little more interesting. Well, obviously, time will tell what they do with that situation. But until then, Trevino is going to be the guy that catches more times than not. Austin Wynn seems like he deserves an opportunity, to play. I know that history doesn't back this up, Nick, but can you bear with me for a minute? Here's the thought that I have with all of this. If we're not going to use analytics to the umpteenth degree to try to win in the margins, and all we're going to do is try to basically say, hey, we're going to kind of see guys out, we're going to feel it out, we're going to try to play kind of the gut feeling from time to time, I guess I'm openly asking, why doesn't Austin Wynn get a little bit more run in some capacity? Why can't he DH one game? If the guy gets 6 hits in a game, Nick, with all due respect, we got guys on this team that haven't got 6 hits, and they might not get 6 hits till the All-Star break. And yeah, that's a funny little joke, but I'm not really being all that joking about it. I get why, from an analytics perspective and from an overall history perspective, why you would say Austin Wynn isn't going to take at bats away from Candelario. He's not going to take bats away from Steer. But then in the same vein, in the 6th and 7th innings, we got guys like Jake Fraley and Lux hitting lefty on lefty. We have Espinal hitting second in the batting order against right-handed pitching. I guess I'm openly saying, if that's the mindset that we're going to manage with, why wouldn't we manage with some semblance of urgency with guys that seem like and look like, it's not just that they look like they are seeing the ball better than 2 guys on this roster, for sure. It's at least a thought. I mean, it has to be at least a question asked at some point. It's like, I'm not saying Austin Wynn is going to be your DH all year long, but how about we ride this horse until the horse shows that he's slowing down or he falls over dead? Am I crazy?
I'm not DHing Austin Wentz.
All right.
With all due respect to Austin and the remarkable game he had on Sunday in Baltimore. It is wild, though, that Santiago Espinal was hitting second against right-handed pitching and can't pinch hit in a crucial spot in the game against a left-handed pitcher. His strength. That's pretty wild to me. And, I mean, he's a right fielder. Like, we know that now.
I just can't believe that we don't want to try to have a guy that's hitting like 500 on this team that has had good at bats. I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's almost like if you're again, my analogy, some people probably think I'm crazy for this sometimes, but it's like, hear me out. If you got a kid on your basketball team that is absolutely shooting the lights out of it, are you just going to take him out of the game after he hits 5 threes in the first half and be like, you know what? Your day's over. Largely because these other guys on the bench have had better careers than you. I personally would just be like, hey, let's see if this guy is going to get hot and hit a few more. We have guys on this roster, Nick, in this lineup. Can you do me a favor? How many hits does Candelario have? How many hits does Steer have?
Not a lot.
I want to know.
All right.
I'd like to know. I mean, at least give him a chance. Like, if this is a meritocracy and sports is about equal opportunity, and if you do well, you earn more things, and you're not judged off of what other people say or whatever opinion is of this, okay, then show me the details. Give me the facts. How many hits does Spencer Steer have?
Spencer Steer has 8 hits and 64 at-bats.
8 hits. Austin Wentz had 6 hits in one day. How many does Candelario have? How many does Candelario have? Please.
9.
I mean, come on, everybody. Come on. This isn't asking too much. I'm not asking for much here. I mean, I'm not trying to say Austin Wentz is a good player. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, this team has struggled so bad at the plate. They've had such bad approaches. I'm not even talking about hits or not hits. I'm talking about sheer, overmatched, undervalued plate appearances. Yeah, you could get me on the fact that Candelario's hitting the ball hard. I'd be like, okay, fine. He's only got 9 hits this year. He's hitting the ball hard. Steer, he's doing this, but he's seeing the ball well. He's getting on base. He's walking a guy. These guys aren't even, they're not even having competitive at-bats. My guy gets 6 hits in one game. He throws somebody out, and now all of a sudden everybody's like, you can't let Austin Wentz DH. Okay, that's fine. Well, I guess we'll just stick the guys in there that have gotten basically 14 hits combined all year long. Meanwhile, the guy that's got 22 at-bats has almost 14 hits. How many does Austin Wentz have?
10.
10 hits. All right. I'm done with it.
I will say, though,
it's not a bit either. It's not a bit. I'm being serious.
It would be kind of incredible if they do send Austin Wentz down for Tyler Stephenson and he doesn't come back up and he gets to end the season with that stat line. I mean, that would be one of the most insane stat lines on anyone's baseball reference page next to their career. People 50 years from now will look at that and go, what? How did that happen?
You know what it reminded me of? I'm going to tell you right now what it reminded me of. I don't want to butcher this. Hold on a minute. You know what this is like? This is like Texas Tech right now. Now, it's not to this degree, but this is like Texas Tech telling Baker Mayfield he's not good enough to play for him. Oh, you're not good enough. How many stars did you have, kid, when you came out of here? Huh? How many stars did you have? Oh, you didn't have any stars? No big deal. You're not good enough here. Goes to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's like, damn, who is this kid? He looks like he's actually pretty decent. I don't know. Somebody gave him a chance. I know this as a Georgia football fan. I'm sure as hell happy they gave Stetson Bennett a chance. I just am. We'd probably still be running in the sunset with the 5-star quarterback of JT Daniels and his terrible ass. But you know what? Let's run Steer back out there for another day. Why not? Austin wins. You're not good enough. I digress. I'm done doing this. All right, folks. We have Reds MILB. You're probably going to get updates here in a few weeks on Austin Wins himself on this very segment. He'll probably be hitting 750 down there with a 1,600 OPS. But going down to the farm, Louisville. Take pride in that.
All right, let's go down to the farm. Louisville, they won 8-4. The Bats, Reds MILB best. 12-10 on the season. Tyler Stephenson, first rehab game, 1 for 3 with a double and 2 strikeouts. He was catching in this game, caught 5 innings. Double was a hard hit ball. And faced 2 pitchers that have pitched in the big leagues last year in Javier Assad and Keegan Thompson. Tyler Callahan, another hit for him, 1 for 4. I think he has an 11-game hit streak. Haven't got a chance to double-check that. Benson walked twice in this one. Sam Mole, first rehab game for him, through a scoreless inning. Walked 1, struck out 1. And then good stuff from Luis May and Zach Maxwell, each through a scoreless inning. Luis May, a perfect inning. No walks. Zach Maxwell didn't allow a walk as well. Chattanooga, they fell 5-1 to the Columbus Clingtones. Jose Acuna gave up 1 run over 4 innings. Continues to pitch well, but walking a lot of batters. Walked 4, struck out 5. Andrew Moore, 2 scoreless innings from him. Edwin Arroyo only 0 for 1 with a walk. Didn't get taken out of the game, so must have had a bunch of sacrifices or something. Sal Stewart 0 for 3 with a walk. And Ethan O'Donnell 1 for 3 with a walk. Dayton, they are struggling. They lose 10-0 to West Michigan. The first game of Wade Miley's return to the Cincinnati Reds organization didn't go well. 2 1/3, 9 hits, 6 earned runs. Reportedly gave up a 488-foot home run. Now, our source in Dayton says that's not true. So we'll see, but it did show up on, I guess, the West Michigan's radio broadcast, whatever stats they get. Ricky Cabrera, Reds top prospect down there. He's really struggling. He was 0 for 4. Nestor Laurent, 4 innings, 3 earned runs. Last but not least, Daytona. They fall 3-2 to St. Lucie in 10 innings. Tortuga's now 8-8 on the season. Alfredo Duno, 1 for 4, did hit a ball 110 miles per hour. Sammy Stafora, 1 for 3. Carlos Sanchez had his 10-game hit streak snapped, but did walk to extend his on-base streak to 14 games. He's reached base in all 14 games so far this season.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If Austin Wins gets sent down for Tyler Stephenson, I am going to buy an Austin Wins jersey. I have not. I don't own any jerseys outside of one jersey. It's a Barry Larkin jersey. I bought it as a gift for someone else, and then things fell through to where I just never gave him the gift. So I have a Barry Larkin jersey in my closet. Not as a broadcaster, to be clear, as a baseball player.
Thank you for clarifying.
No problem. Brutal. But I'm going to have to do it out of respect. Out of respect to the reason I love sports. You know, the reason I love sports, the more I think about it, is largely based off the fact that it is a meritocracy. It's the best form of pure goodness in the world. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter how tall, how short, how ugly, how pretty, how anything. Where you come from, where you've been. The only thing that matters is how good you are at that sport. Can you help the team win? And if you do, you get to play. If you don't, you don't play. And this Reds team isn't good enough to sit around and act as if somebody isn't good enough to play for their team because they're overachieving based off of some baseball reference page. Spare me the facts about the baseball reference page when you got guys out here who are hitting $110 with little to no MLB proven experience. Yeah, you want to say he has one good season? Well, you know what? This could be Austin Wynn's season. This could be Austin Wynn's season. Okay, Spencer Steers had one great year in the big leagues. You want to say he's a great year? Okay, 117 WRC plus. That's a great year. That's a great year. You know what? This is Austin Wynn's 117 WRC plus. Prove me wrong. You can't. This might be it. And next thing you know, you're just going to dust it off into the sunset because he's too old. That's the other thing in the world. You're not supposed to be judging people based off their age. I got a letter in the mail from the government that told me straight to my face that as an employer, you're not allowed to judge people based off their age, their sex, or their sexual preference, or anything. You got to judge them on the merit of who they are. And you know what? I'd love for the Reds to take that into consideration as well. You got a guy that got 6 hits sitting on the bench when you got a guy that's got 9 hits all year. I'll be an Austin Wynn stan. You know what, Austin? If you watch this show, I got your back, brother. I got your back. You keep doing what you're doing. I'll stand here. I'll fight the good fight. If you need me to go picket at Great American Ballpark, you get a couple more hits again and they sit you, I'll be down there. I'll be down there. Forget sell the team stuff. Get that out of here. Forget all of that. That ain't no big deal. We'll get a revolution to get Austin Wynn's in the lineup. That's what we'll do. I hope Austin's parents see this. Because there's at least me. There's one guy in his corner. And you know what? He might suck. He might not get a hit for the next 30 days. But by God, he deserves more opportunity than he's been given. All right.
You ready for this? You ready for this? I was looking it up as you were giving your Austin Wynn sermon.
Please.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'll give you some points. You know, when you and Mr. Wynn's go to arbitration together.
Yes.
Austin Wynn's currently among Reds players all time with 40 plate appearances is number 1 with a .415 batting average. Number 2 with a .455 on base percentage behind the legendary Bob Caruthers. So there you go. Oh, wait, hold on. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Austin Wynn's has the highest WRC plus in Cincinnati Reds history. The only Cincinnati Red over 200 at 203.
You know, when they talk about the history of this franchise, they're going to look back. They're going to look back on it.
Move over, Johnny. We got Austin Wynn's.
They're going to think of names like Bench and Concepcion and Morgan. Vottos, Larkins, and the like. But the one that they're going to hang their hat on at night to talk about what they really meant to this franchise is guys like Austin Wynn's. Because he's the only guy that ever actually produced at a high level that they said, sorry, buddy, we're too good for you. What a shame. All right, well, that'll do it for the night. We do have more baseball tomorrow. We got a little who, what, when, where, and why. I sure as hell hope that we get an opportunity to see our guy in the lineup tomorrow. And if not, I guess I'll wait for the next one. But anyway, I know who doesn't want to. I can tell you who doesn't want to see him a little bit of Austin Wynn's is Sandy. Take it away, Nick.
Well, I don't believe Trevino's caught 3 games in a row all season, so I think there's a good chance that you will get to see Austin Wynn's catching Brady Singer tomorrow. Singer comes in 3-0, 3.38 ERA. Singer from Leesburg, Florida. That's near Orlando. Of course, played baseball at Florida University. So looking forward to that, I'm sure. Singer only made 1 career start against the Marlins. It came last season with the Royals. Allowed just 1 run over 7 1/3. Active Marlins just 2 for 8 against Singer. Reds will be going up against Sandy Alcantara. 2-1 with a 7.27 ERA. Alcantara won the NL Cy Young in 2022. Fairly average 2023 season, but then ended up getting Tommy John surgery in October 2023. Missed all of 2024. Last start was rough against the Phillies. 2 innings, 4 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Big couple months for Alcantara is a big trade chip for the Marlins at the deadline. They've reportedly gone back and forth if they want to move him or not. Alcantara relies on 5 pitches: a sinker, changeup, 4-seamer, slider, and curveball. Sinker averaging 96.7. That's down almost a full mile per hour from back in 2023. Career 2-3 with a 3.03 ERA in 7 games. 5 of those starts against the Reds. Active Reds 9 for 29. Candelario is 2 for 3. Jake Fraley 3 for 8 with a home run. Austin Hayes 1 for 6 with a home run. Gavin Lux 2 for 5. And Spencer Steer is 0 for 4.
All right, folks. You know, we've been rambling on a show where the Reds lose 4-3, and I don't know what we talked about for an hour and 10 minutes, but we did it. So, very much appreciate everybody tuning in. Please like the stream if you haven't already. More importantly, go and download the podcast every morning after each and every single one of these Reds games. We do appreciate everybody doing that. I also seen that we got some more reviews. That's kind of nice. I do appreciate that. It's kind of nice to see the reviews popping off again. So I just want to say genuinely, we appreciate you. I know that if the Reds win more games, we'll have more people to tune in. That's fine. I know if the Reds lose a ton of games, we'll have Ned, Carlton, Sean, and a couple others in the chat. I know I'm missing a ton of OGs. That's why I don't try to do that, but you get my point. The OGs will be here through thick and thin. But I'd like to win some games, you know? So would you. And you know what tomorrow is? You know what tomorrow is, Nick?
It's a damn win.
It ain't hump day. It ain't hump day. It's Wednesday. See you tomorrow, everybody.